Hiya, welcome back to my channel. It's Wendy here from Toonpish Crafts and I hope you're doing okay. Just jumping in here to my own video again just to say thank you so much for me hitting 5k subscribers. I can't believe it's going this quickly. It seems only yesterday it was 4k. This video is going to be the 5k subscriber giveaway, and during the video I will announce how you could win it. Anyway, thanks so much for supporting my channel. I really appreciate it. Today I'm playing around with wood slices. Now about a year ago, over a year ago I think, Hugh from Wouldn't It Be Nice, and I'll put his link in the top right hand corner, sent me some wood slices to put in a project. Now I made the project, I absolutely loved it, and it went back to Hugh and I believe he really liked it too, so I'm happy with that. But I still have some wood slices left. So I've got these wood slices, loads of them, and I'm going to put them in a wood slice blank. Yeah, let's see how I get on with this one because I have no idea what I'm making. So as I said, I have absolutely no idea what I'm making, but I am using Jdiction epoxy resin, which is a 1:1 ratio and actually can go quite deep. So I'm mixing it up. It's going to go in my pressure pot. I'm not too worried about bubbles. It's very easy to use 1:1 ratio, isn't it? It's just literally 1:1 by volume. You stick it in together, you stir it slowly. So I stirred it in total for about 3.5 to 4 minutes, and this is what it looks like now. I'm going to be using the colours Magic Blue and Magenta for this. I absolutely love these colours. They are shimmery beyond control. They don't look so good in the packet, but they come out so beautiful when put in a solid piece of resin. So I've divided it into two and I am mixing in my colour. Again, this is all sped up for you. I try to make it easy for you to watch. I do put quite a lot of colour in, but there's a lot of resin and I want it to be opaque, more or less. Yeah, the magenta came out a little too much, but I'm okay with that. It's powder, it's not liquid. I'm pretty sure it's going to cure absolutely fine. Now look at this colour. It has a blue tint to it already. So I'm going to be using the mixing cup to actually put the wood slices in. So I'm leaving a little bit of resin at the bottom to put my first wood slice in. I know I haven't done anything to these wood slices. They're not stabilised, they're not sanded, they're just as they came out of the packet. I've absolutely no idea what kind of woods they are. Hugh, Wouldn't It Be Nice, will probably know most of them, as most of them come from him. But I just thought I'd layer them up, pouring in resin over the top. Now, I didn't think at the time about bubbles going underneath the wood slices. As it's going in the pressure pot, I thought any air trapped underneath would be pushed out anyway. That was a little bit of an issue later on, but we'll come to that. Really, what I should have done was put the resin in and then submerge the wood into the resin, rather than put the wood on top of the resin and then pour the resin over, because there could be pockets of air underneath the wood slices. Didn't really think that through, but I haven't done anything like this before, so it's all a learning curve. It's all good fun. Now I'm using a pot with stones in it. Plastic pot that does not stick to resin. I've weighed it down with stones and I'm putting it on top to keep the wood from floating up. You can use metal weights, you can use a HDPE block. This is a HDPE tub and I figured it would do. 24 hours later and it's time to demold, and it is actually just 24 hours. This resin cured really quickly. It was a little difficult to get it out of the tub, but once I released the seal it just popped out. And I did then actually wait about 2 weeks for it to cure properly before I took it to the garage. I put it on a faceplate with 4 screws and I put it on my lathe. By this point I still had no idea what I was going to make. I fancied making an egg or a sphere, but it ended up being something completely different. So to start with, I'm using my Easy Wood rougher with a negative rake tip and I'm making it true and round. It's a little bit jumpy to start with, but that's because it's not quite straight on the chuck, on the lathe. But you got to start somewhere, right? And that's where you start. You start by truing it up. I'd just like to say hello to all my new subscribers that have just joined me. I upload every Tuesday night and sometimes other times as well, so if you push the notification bell you'll get notified when I upload. Have you ever thought to yourself, I'd really like to have a go at that? Well, that's the way I think all the time. I'd really like to have a go at that, and that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to learn, and learning is a work in progress. I've now taken off the tailstock and I'm making a mortise. Now, the definition of a mortise is a cavity cut into a piece of material, and that is so I can turn it around and attach it to the other end. So once that's done, I can take it off the chuck, turn it round and put it back into the chuck, but using the mortise to grip it. So I've taken out the screws from the other end that was holding it on, and the screw holes are now this end. So if I want to hollow it out, it's this end. I'm getting a little confused as usual about which way is up. I should have done it the other way around, but I'm glad I didn't. What I should have done, before I turned it round, shaped it, sanded it, polished it, and then turned it round. But I'm so glad I didn't. All that work. I think somebody, some little angel somewhere was sitting on my shoulder this day. I really do. Because when I removed the tailstock from this end, this happened. To say I was surprised was an understatement. So once I'd composed myself, I had a look around for the pieces and I found them. And basically it was an airlock. The resin had cured with huge bubbles in and it wasn't stable, so it didn't hold. Not giving up, I decided to take it right the way down on my sander and start it again. With a much smaller blank. I weren't going to give up. I was pretty sure that I could do this, so I carried on and I thought if it happens again, you know what, I'll carry on until I've got a peanut left. I don't mind, I'm going to carry on. So at this point I thought I'd change to a normal tip finishing tool, but I started to get a massive amount of chip out. So I decided to go back to my negative rake rougher and then later change to a negative rake finisher. Although wood is no good to be turned with negative rakes, resin is. And it's a little bit of a quandary when you're doing both together. So now I'm starting to get streams and I'm loving it. I just hoped that it wouldn't do the same thing as it did before and fly off the lathe. So now I have to put a mortise back in so that I can turn it round. I took the tailstock off and I was petrified it was going to jump off the lathe. But it did stay there, thankfully. But it was held in with screws at the other end. So I made a mortise. I then thought, right, I'm going to do this properly and do it the right way around, and I'm going to shape it how I want before I turn it round to grip it with the mortise. I did wonder whether putting all the effort in to shape it, to sand it, to polish it, to make it good on the outside before you turn the inside would be worth it if it then fell apart again. How many air pockets were going to be inside? I had no idea. But you know what? If you don't try, you don't know, do you? So I just thought, yeah, I'm stubborn. I am stubborn. I'll give you that. I'll just carry on regardless. I was using a negative rake finisher, which was beautiful to use. And I made a very simple shape. Very pensively I took off the tailstock again because I need to sand, and I started at 180 grit and I went up to 400 grit. But when I was on 180 grit I realised there was quite a few lines of my bad turning, so I put the sandpaper on a piece of wood on a block. Now that will sand, only to the block, so that will straighten out all your lines. Phew, wouldn't it be nice? Taught me this. I'm so grateful because it does help when you're an inexperienced turner. I'm not going to show you all the sanding and polishing. I don't want to bore you to death, so let's move on. Now unfortunately here the camera battery died and I didn't realise, so it wasn't recording for a good time, but I started hollowing it out. I've turned it around on the lathe and I'm hollowing it out. Now this is after I've been hollowing for a while. I was actually really enjoying it, to be honest with you. It was quite therapeutic, but it was hard work. Some of those woods that were in there were really tough, but I was enjoying the process. And I kept going until I got the right depth this time that I wanted. Instead of stopping because I didn't want to go through the bottom, I just kept going until I was absolutely sure I was where I wanted it to be. And that little bit of extra attention to detail really made it for me. Once I was happy with the shape, then I started to sand. I started at 120 because I couldn't put a block inside. When I'd reached 400, I then used Yorkshire grit, brilliant wet sanding system. I then went on to Yorkshire grit microfine. That will take it up to about 2000 grit. Then I used auto glimmer. With auto glimmer you put it on, but you leave it to dry. So I put it on, I left it to dry, and then I came back to buff it. Wow, what a shine. Well, those that know me know that turning is still very new to me. So this piece will be the 5k subscriber giveaway. To enter, all you have to do is to write in the comments the word I used to describe myself. It flashed up on the screen, you should be able to use that spelling. You do have to be a subscriber to the channel, and the winner will be drawn on the 23rd of May and be announced on the 24th of May in my next video. So good luck with the draw, and thanks again. And by the way, ignore my terrible English in the next section. It is appalling. But I absolutely love this, and it's not just because of the colour. I love the shape. I love that I hollowed it out so better than the last one. It's really not, it's not that thin, but it's thin enough to say that I've got to where I wanted it to be. I'm gonna have to get some marks or something to put in the bottom. I love this, the colour. Oh, the colours. Oh, the colours, they're just me. Pink and blue. I mean, it's almost purple, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Come back and see me next week because you never know what I'm going to be up to. You really don't. Have a great week. Happy crafting. Bye for now.